So it looks like we're not going to be getting our hands on a PS6 anytime soon. And unfortunately, the reason behind it doesn't appear like it's going to be going away anytime soon. It's crazy to think that the reason behind this is because of AI in Nintendo and not some other weird reason like an internal issue with Sony. So today I'm going to go over what those reasons are and why I think the PS5 will likely be fine just the way it is. I think we're good for a few more years with this console, really. And I'll also go over the rumors and what to expect with the possible PS6 and why I think it could be a truly special console despite these delays and what's been going on. Okay, so let's go to the beginning of all of this. Rumors were originally pointing to a 2026, sorry, my footage. So apparently the next gen consoles were supposed to be releasing in 2026, 2027, most likely. 2026 was seen to be very early, but also possible, especially for Xbox, because Xbox kind of skipped a generation update. They still have the original S and Series X that they had at launch. They did not drop a PS5 Pro like Sony did. They did not have an upgraded version. Xbox is under a lot of pressure right now to meet very high profit margins that we learned earlier this year, which is why we saw price increases and delays and layoffs, things like that. But it doesn't appear like that is going to happen. Definitely not next year, or I guess technically this year, 2026, under any circumstance. So the biggest reason behind this is AI, unfortunately. And if you're here because you're a PlayStation gamer, then you might not be too familiar with this, but if you are a PC gamer, you definitely know about this. The price of RAM and video cards has gone through the roof. And this is because big companies that are running AI are buying these things up immediately to help run the AI. From what we understand, the situation has led console manufacturers to debate whether the next generation of consoles should be delayed from their intended 2027-2028 release window, with the hope that RAM manufacturers will be able to build out their infrastructure to produce more RAM, thereby allowing more prices to drop. And this is the key part of this article. The manufacturers themselves will have to be the ones who upgrade their infrastructure. This isn't like there's no timer on this ending anytime soon, unfortunately, which is the opposite of crypto. If you're a PC gamer during 2020, then you also know, and PlayStation was also very hard to get because of multiple reasons because of COVID. But during that time when crypto was skyrocketing during the beginning of COVID, I hope you guys didn't lose any money. I certainly did on some. Screw ADA. But that made GPU prices through the roof. Like you had to snipe them online if you wanted a chance of getting them or pay the insane resale value. Just didn't make any sense with the new consoles dropping at that time, especially the PS5. But anyways, that was not something that was going to be forever. Crypto, it has its spikes, it has its drops. It's like a mountain. It's going up and down, up and down. And when it goes down, people aren't going to be buying up all the GPUs like that. So luckily, the GPU prices bounce back. And I remember when I built my PC like 2 years ago in 23 or 22, I forgot when it was. At that point, I was able to just buy my GPU when it was out. Like I didn't have to do anything crazy to get it. But unfortunately, AI isn't going anywhere. And in fact, is likely going to just keep increasing and increasing. And that's the worrying part about this is that who knows when this is going to end. Now, what does this mean for right now? Some of you might not even want a PS6 without any new games being announced yet. The PS5 will be able to run GTA 6, so what's the point? You know, all the big games are still coming out. Man, I mean, there's still games coming out for the PS4, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think Call of Duty may have just stopped dropping old gen, or maybe this year was the last year. But, I mean, some games still run on old gen perfectly fine. A lot. Likely. But unfortunately, with these consoles years away, this could mean further price hikes for current gen hardware. Sony has already upped prices once, Xbox twice. Now we're in a situation where a PS5 costs more than it did at launch 5 years ago, in an industry where prices are supposed to go down in time. Microsoft, meanwhile, also had to increase the prices of consoles like the 2TB Xbox to an eye-popping $800. And you used to be able to say, wow, that's almost the price of a PC. Might as well just get a PC, but the prices of PCs are insane. If you have a PC right now and you haven't looked into this, seriously, check the price of your RAM. Like, I think RAM is doubled or even quadrupled. Like, if you have DDR5, good luck trying to buy more of that if you want to upgrade your PC anytime soon. And if you don't use your PC, man, just take that out and sell it, to be honest. So yeah. So if the current gen consoles are going up, that means the next gen will also go up. I mean, obviously, they're going to charge more. So if the PS5's up to $600 at some point, the Xbox is already at $800 for a 2TB, the next gen consoles could be $800 to $1,000. And earlier this year, when Xbox was talking about their next console, which I will get into in a little bit, it was said to be a premium console. I think they were preparing fans to accept the reality that this could be a $800 or $1,000 console, especially if it's strong enough to, it's going to have Steam on it, run PC games. It's probably going to have a lot more power. But based off the rumors I will get into in a little bit, there's also reason to assume the PS6 will also be very expensive. Like a $1,000 price tag could make sense for what you get with it. And with that said, the PS6, the rumors are insane for this console. It's supposed to be a lot stronger than the PS5, which indicates a weight would make sense because the PS5 is pretty good, to be honest. And there's also supposed to be a handheld mode, and they're already kind of experimenting with that with certain modes built in the PS5. They're adding 24 gigs of RAM for better ray tracing and smart tech. For the PlayStation's future, developers are already finding 16 gigabytes small, especially for high quality games, demanding games like Borderlands was really hard to run on console. DRAM prices have stayed high, making a jump to 32 gigabytes or more too costly, which would push up the console's price, which they probably were intending for this originally, but things have changed. And like I said, the possible new handheld that we have learned a lot about recently, if that comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM, having 24 gigs would make it easier for game studios to work on both. And they also mentioned this here, the Xbox will be more like a PC. It's going to be weird to even go head to head with the PlayStation. They're going to be two entirely separate entities. And this year, Sony has begun experimenting with the idea of a handheld. And there's two reasons that really could convince you that there is a handheld coming. So the first reason being Sony is experimenting with their low power modes for their consoles. They have certain modes that use lower wattage, and therefore the graphics have to run and demand less from your console. There's certain low power modes for the PlayStation 5. And they're adding this so developers can already start experimenting with running their current games at a lower, demand from your console. And they're expecting that this low power mode will be the base mode for their handheld. So your base PS5 games that you're playing now, you could be able to run handheld. Not like the Portal where you're streaming it, but like it's running natively on your handheld device, like a PSP. And that would be so cool. Handhelds are awesome, man. The Steam Deck has killed it this year. The Switch 2 has also killed it this year. Like, it is breaking records. The Switch 2 launched as the fastest selling video game hardware device in United States history, according to market research. It sold 1.6 million units just in June alone. And the Switch one also saw huge sales. So it makes sense why companies want to get into the handheld market. Seriously, I mean, handhelds making a comeback. I don't know why it took so much time. The DS was so cool. Everyone loved the PSP. Handhelds were awesome. And I don't know why we got away from that. But, we saw Xbox earlier in this year with their version of a handheld, but really it was just a small Windows PC with Xbox logos on it. It can't run native Xbox games that aren't available on PC, unfortunately. But still, companies are getting into this. And with the Switch being so successful, with Xbox getting into this, PlayStation is also wanting to tap into this. So yeah, this PS6 is supposed to be dockable like a Switch. You will have your handheld mode that you can plug into your dock, and it'll be your base console. So making that big of a jump this time, I could see why they're taking their time with this, because if Xbox is going the PC route, Nintendo's doing their handheld thing with the Switch, PlayStation truly has a way to stand out here because they're really just competing with Xbox. Like, yeah, they're competing with the Switch, but ultimately Nintendo fans are going to get the Nintendo console. But when it comes to Xbox versus PlayStation, which Xbox has gotten dominated these past years, this generation and last generation, the PS6 would really stand out if it had a handheld. And if you're making that big of a jump, you really don't need to do anything anytime soon because the PS5 is just fine. So we saw earlier this year, The Witcher 4 held their tech demo, and they're building on Unreal Engine 5. They're working directly with the people at Unreal Engine and Epic, and they are building this game from the ground up with the expectations, like the base level of this game is going to be based off the base PS5, which is how companies are able to actually make games that don't look terrible. We see a bunch of Unreal Engine 5 games that look atrocious. This game does not. This game looks beautiful on the PS5 because it's built just for the PS5. They're not building it for some high-end PC and then trying to optimize it down and down and down to make it work for console. They're making it work for console first and then PC second. So yeah, man, I mean, just look at these graphics. This is insane on a base PS5, not even the PS5 Pro. And we also really haven't gotten into the full, like, I can't believe this generation of PS5 was almost over if this delay didn't happen, like 2026, 2027. It really feels like we haven't gotten too far into this generation. I've enjoyed the PS5 a lot. I've gotten a lot more out of it than I originally expected at the time when I purchased it. I kind of bought it out of hype, and now it's my favorite thing to play on. And I have a PC, the Switch, the Series X. I spend a lot, unfortunately, my wallet says. But the PS5 is my favorite way to play. It's so simple. Just turn it on, have full access to a gigantic library. It has the best exclusives for the current consoles, in my opinion. Even though they haven't been the best, we haven't gotten a new God of War, a new Last of Us. Those were all PS4 games that got next gen updates. Naughty Dog's working on their new IP. New God of Wars are on the way. And there's also a new Last of Us coming. I'm sure that will come during this generation as well, if it's being delayed this far out. And the overall sentiment with fans is also like, we don't need a PS6. Like the PS5's seriously just fine. Just keep adding games to that. It runs beautiful. We're only going to get so much better with the consoles. I don't think we're going to see like an 8K resolution jump anytime soon. There's not even really a point at this current moment. So that's why you're seeing them kind of go, Xbox is going handheld and PC sort of with the handheld, and PlayStation's going all in on the handheld by making a native PlayStation handheld device that's dockable, instead of going for like more and more and more power, because there's only really so much more you can improve these consoles for now. So yeah, what do you think about this? Are you going to be getting a PS6, and is the $800 or $1,000 price tag a deal breaker for you? Thanks for watching. If you listen to me ramble this far, and if this is your kind of content, check out the channel. It would mean a lot. Peace.